Hi there, welcome to my Python tutorial part 1. Here I'm going to download Python for Windows and show you an example program using the idle editor. Further tutorials will cover Linux and the Raspberry Pi. So the first thing to do is download Python. I'm going to choose 3.5.2. That downloads an executable file into my downloads area and I can click that to run it. So I'm going to customize the installation rather than allow it to choose my installation folder for me. So I'm going to customize, that's fine, and then I'm going to choose an area that I've defined already on my disk, Python 3, and just check all of these things. So install. If you get it wrong, you can always uninstall it. To uninstall, you just run the program again, run the executable file again, and it will uninstall or repair it or various other things. So it's very, very straightforward to get rid of Python if you don't want it anymore, or if you want to fix it. So Python is an interpreted language, so it runs line by line, unlike C, C#, C++, Java, which are compiled languages. So you'll find that Python is not as strongly typed as those languages, but you'll soon get an example because it's almost installed. So as soon as it's installed, what I'll do is I'll run idle, and you find that in the start menu, or you can search for it in the search button. So this is now installed, so there's lots of tutorials and documentation which you might find very, very useful. So what I'm going to do now is go and find idle in the start menu. I've opened up idle and I'll now bring it over to you, so it gives you a shell. But what you can do with this is you can type in code here, just type line by line, or you can do new file, and you just get an empty window. Once you've typed your code into here, you can run it using run module F5, so you can save the file to wherever you wish. I'm going to type some code in now, but I've started off with some structured English in the form of comments. The first line is to import the random number functionality, and all of the other lines are comments. They start with the hash in Python, whereas in other languages you'll probably see that sort of structure or this, but in Python comments are starting with the hash. Okay, so let's complete this little program, which is going to be a very, very simple program to allow the user to enter their guess. If it's too high, they get the message too high. If it's too low, they get a too low message. So that's a too high, otherwise they get correct. So what we're going to do is complete this. So put the code underneath the comments. First of all, it's to generate a random number. So that's the variable I will use to store that using the random number functionality, and I'm going to create myself a random integer 1 to 10. That's syntactically correct. I'm also going to create myself a variable for the user's number and set that to 0 initially, and then I need a loop to loop around while the user's guess is incorrect. So I need a non-deterministic loop. I can't use a for loop for this because I'm uncertain as to when the loop will end. The loop is determined by the condition of the user getting it correct. So while the user's guess is not right, keep asking the user. I know this isn't a perfect little program, but the idea is it's an example. So while the user's number is not equal, so while what they've entered is not equal to the random number, do all of this stuff. Now with Python you need to indent your code, so that's what I've done here. So if you go back and you tab, this is where you end up. Type in the position that it suggests, otherwise you could find yourself with problems. This is the command to ask the user for data. Please enter your guess, put a space there to allow for a space, and that's how you ask them for their guess. But in order to ensure that we have this converted to an integer, we can then also surround that by an integer command, which will get the data, and whatever data is received from the input is then turned into an integer. So the next line is an if statement. And we need to say if the guess that they've entered, user num, is equal to the random number, then actually we don't need to check if it's equal. So what I'm going to do is get rid of that line there and just go straight for if the guess is too low or if the guess is too high. So let me get that tab correct. So if the user's number is less than the random number, colon, you have to have a colon at the end of conditionals like this. So just print using the print statement, and in brackets, too low, you want to be more friendly than this, and then to do an else if, like otherwise if, it's elif, and then the condition, if the user's number is greater than the random num, colon, and what to do in that case is to print too high. Now if you're not sure what the code is, I'm sorry, I'm thinking and speaking at the same time. I can multitask, but it can be a bit of a pain sometimes when you can't see the keyboard very well. So finally, else, which is your otherwise, print correct. Okay, so this is saying while the user's number that they've entered is not equal to the random number. Well, it might be straight away set, but it should be between 1 and 10, so it won't be. So it'll definitely go into this loop. Then the user will enter the number and it'll be stored into this variable. That variable will be checked against the random number. If it's too low, so less than, you get this message. Again, checked, but in this case it's too high. Otherwise, it'll be correct. Now, in order to stop the program from closing, I'm just going to get the user to press a key before the program stops. So press any key to close. Like I said, this is a very simple example. You may want to consider improving this with a lot more code, but this is just for a demonstration. So I'm going to run that and save it. Actually, I had already prepared the save. As you can see, it's asking me for my guess. In fact, if I put that next to that, you'll see the code running. Please enter your guess. So I'll put 5 in there. So I got that right straight away. So let me just close that and run it again. Now, it'd be nice if I could keep going there, like I already said to you, but that's fine at this stage. So I'll do 5 again. Oh no, I keep getting it right. It's just fluky. Unless I've done something wrong. Let me have a look and see if I choose 5 again. There, that's okay. It was just a coincidence that I picked 5 twice. So it's too low, so I'm going to pick 7, and I got that in 2. I will run it one more time. There we go again. I'm going to enter my 5 again. In fact, no, I'll enter 9. Too high, 8, too high. So you can see a few goes there to get that one. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this short video. You could certainly improve on that to allow yourself to, instead of saying press any key, you could ask them if they want another go, and if they do, you can put another loop around all of this. So that's your next task. So thank you for watching my Python tutorial part 1, where I downloaded Python 3 and typed in a simple program and tested the program.